Just a long lost look in your eyes brings out a love that I can't disguise. So take me down to the places I've never seen. Or don't you try to kill me with kind. It's just your love that's driving me wild. Oh, from the dawn we rise, with the heart we cry, into the light we go, into the light we go. From the darkest night, from the fire inside, into the light we go, into the light we go, into the light we go.
We are back here at Sport TV for more LCK action. We're taking a look at some of the highlights from game number 1 of Afreeca versus KSV.
While it was distinctly a KSV-style game where there wasn't a lot of action in the mid-game, I really enjoyed seeing fights with Taliyah and Sion, these meta champions that largely have not impressed us in their first few visits to the 8.3 meta, actually be wielded with a lot of intelligence. The laning phase didn't go great for Afreeca. They were behind KSV. First couple of kills were towards the bot side, but the team fights were kind of on a knife's edge. They could swing either way. By the end, though, swinging only one way, the side of Afreeca Freecs.
This is pretty incredible what you're able to do when you create this much space for your carries in the back line.
Oh, the interrupt there onto CuVee. Did that twice, ult to interrupt it in the previous fight, this one with just the decimating smash. Someone else could have interrupted him, they didn't. Sion worked a treat, the knockup party wasn't quite Galio and Zach, but still a lot of effort. And then the front-to-back team fighting, the ruler on paper was the one should profit from the most, never could actually get value out of that Tristana.
Yeah, Crown, unfortunately, on the wrong side of this one. They zone out Ruler, Kiin, and Kuro together, and then they turn back on the Crown. It was really just the name of the game, and this was the last fight. They take out the ward, Kiin lines it up, and then the rest of his team follows.
This was some great Sion play. It may not actually win MVP. I know I would have voted. Don't have a vote here at Sport TV, but
I think so.
Kiin was awesome in this game. TusiN in the early game on the Alistar, the amount of ults that he was able to absorb, also fantastic. Afreeca just played this better than KSV, and KSV may have picked up a match win recently, but they could still lose 3 out of 4 if they can't turn this one around against Afreeca.
Hey, take a look at the damage, and Ruler did a whole chunk of it in this game, the most by far, but it was just the team play out of the Sion, Taliyah, and of course, even the Kalista in the back there to do more than Crown on the Ryze, who honestly didn't seem too impressive in this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, the struggle streak for Crown will continue. Ryze usually has that big lead in the 1-3-1 against Azir, against Orianna, not against his opposition in Taliyah, as, well, sounds like our prayers were answered. Kiin will be given the MVP. Secret Agent Sion 008, he popped off.
Featuring Kuro. I think that's the team fight magician, if I'm not mistaken, up at the top would be the translation, but yeah, featuring Kuro. I did get the confirmation that is correct, so those two together, just the Sion, Taliyah, they played it to their heart's content. They did very, very well. 0 solo kills, doesn't really matter. That's just the template we have for the top laner, and well, it was just his Sion play. So his first MVP, we're going to be hearing from him for the first time. Very curious to see what he has to say about Sion, his recent experience in the LCK on a bit of a better team here on Afreeca.
Yeah, he picked up some MVPs on Everett winners on carries, but on a tank, on a team like Afreeca who's looking to be challenging for the top 5, it's a very different time from Kiin. So just some questions about how things have evolved for him, because he hasn't been the one-trick carry top laner we expected him to be in 2018. His tank play has also been impressive.
Some stars from the 2025 LCK in the future, no doubt, here in the audience.
I think they might need a couple more years to hit 17, Valdez. But
maybe, maybe I over-predicted exactly how old they are.
2030, though, they could be the next FLICKRs. Who knows?
That'd be cool. But as for right now, Kuro's Taliyah was way too strong. I'd say pretty much no mistakes were made in the play of that Taliyah. But either way, guys, we're going to go into pick and ban. Should be very interesting after game one.
Let's see how the pick and ban goes here in game number 2. Afreeca on blue side in game 1 were largely banning away 80 carries, and then took the first pick Kalista that definitely on first glance at 10 minutes in when they were struggling in lane, you're like, I don't know about the first pick Kalista, but ended up being a cornerstone of their one team fight. So definitely give Afreeca the benefit of the doubt, and they're not interested in seeing Ruler jump on the Varus. Game 1 in the first round was all about banning Comfort, Varus, Xayah, and Azir. With the first 3 bans from Afreeca on the blue side. On the red side, things change a little bit. Wonder where Xayah and Rakan will be accounted for here, because it definitely could be Afreeca themselves running it on the red side in the first round.
Definitely have that option. Of course, the first pick could go the way of KSV, taking one of them to deny it, but let's see how it goes down. Camille gonna also be taken away. Was a second time. Oh, happy birthday, Crown. It's his birthday tomorrow, actually. February 28th. 1995.
But there's, of course, the last match day before
Victor's
his
father.
birthday.
It says that on the corner, Victor's father.
That's great to see. One of our resident Victors. In fact, look at this game. It is 2 of the big Victors in Korea. Kuro and Crown, both known for their Victor play in previous years.
Yeah.
Crown, predictably, no big emotion about it as Korean casters get excited. It was Ambition's Skarner. It was a big reason that Samsung Galaxy in 2016 were able to beat out KT Rolster in that particular year. So known for his Skarner, memes around the mechanical skin, and of course Ambition as well on the Skarner. So the father of Skarner is out on the Rift this time out.
Yeah, the Kalista does mean that that goes over to aiming once again on the side.
Do they take Kalista Rakan to deny Xayah Rakan away from the side of KSV? Because the moment you lock in the Kalista, that's kind of the creeping dread you're going to feel. Answer is no. They're not going to be taking it in this round, at least, for the strongest available jungler. But will we just see Ruler and CoreJJ return to Xayah Rakan on blue side?
It's open and ripe for the picking if they want to do exactly that. Thinking about it, they have the combination of that nearly unstoppable engage from Rakan and the follow-up from Xayah, but then you also got Skarner to back you up if they wanted it. But the answer is going to be no, as they take Zoe here for Crown.
They're going to play with fire a little bit, and they're going to go with the Tristana again. Okay, this is a little bit risky here. I think for the side of KSV, it's probably going to be a very different draft. We could see all sorts of Sion, Alistair. I feel like there's a lot of bans you could definitely be considering for the second round to stop the match from being recreated. This is where we expect to see a Kuro lock in a mid laner to go into the Zoe, and why not Taliyah again? But then I believe we're going to see a blue side Sion ban to stop them recreating most of the compass last second. Instead, they're going to look to play through the mid lane. They won't go for Taliyah. We'll go into a Banshee Veil, wave clear, and try to roam on the Zoe. They want to attack the Zoe straight up.
Yep. So we won't get to see that Taliyah again. I know I'm probably not the only one disappointed, but
you know what we will see more of, though? Plenty of Quicksilver Sash on both sides. Skarner versus Malzahar. Seeing the top lane tank start to be banned away. CuVee recently has largely been a tank-only player. Even played some Maokai in a recent series. Gangplank banned away. We already know that top lane's likely to be very non-interactive. And there it is. I predicted it. The Sion ban does come out against Kiin.
Yeah. You and me and all of Twitch chat, everybody watching, saying, okay, no more Sion, and KSV agrees. They say, okay, no more Sion, so no first pick on the second rotation here for Afreeca.
Well, we see a big reach for something like Ornn, or even an Ornn ban, because Camille is really striking me as one of the power picks available. Could see the Camille taken as a blind pick top laner for the first pick on the second round of the draft on red side, especially now that kind of all the super tanks have been banned away. No Rakan ban, of course, given that the Tristana has already been locked in. They're looking for support, so they're not looking to actually go for the Camille here. It's probably going to be one of Tahm Kench and Thresh for equally safe lanes. We'll see if they decide to go for the playmaking or the play denial.
Yeah, I like that bat on the Alistar, the Fate's call into throwing Alistar in, and all that Alistar can do is pretty obnoxious. So instead they will have to go for the Braum here. I like that they take something a little bit more aggressive than the TK.
Yeah, they were kind of thinking between, do they want to attack the lane, go for lane safety, or do they want the Braum to answer the Zoe? Because Braum's actually even better at answering Zoe than Tahm Kench is, just because he can fend for himself with the Unbreakable, whereas Tahm Kench, if he's the one that actually is hit by a Paddle Star, he runs low on options. With the Tristana being locked in early, the Taric was the inevitable duo partner. Huge favorite for CoreJJ. They've run this Tristana-Taric lane multiple times. It also extends the engage range of the Skarner, because the Dazzle will be there, and the Tristana can just in lane be a conduit for the Bastion as well. As, hey, look what we get here. Finally, for the first time this season in Korea, we will have a top lane Kennen. It's from one of the old aficionados. We lost Mara, and he played it a few days ago in the LPL. Yeah. And I guess CuVee was watching, because he's going to jump on the Kennen.
A bit of trolling here for Kiin. I highly doubt we'll see Pantheon or Nunu. But the Ryze, that's definitely an option, and he is going to lock that in. Ryze versus Kennen in the top lane.
Interesting. The top lane Ryze available. 4th time we're going to be seeing him jump on it. So far, 3-0. You often get very interesting top lane matchups. The other option here that you could have opted into was Vladimir, who does really well against the Kennen as well in top lane. Goes for the Ryze, allows them to play the side lanes in a very powerful way. Can also just so happily go into magic resist here and be able to get through the laning phase. So top lane matchup you're not going to see too many times repeated, but it ends up being Kennen versus Ryze.
Curious to see what CuVee has in store in terms of his Kennen. Is it just going to be the straight up AP Kennen? Is he going to throw us some kind of curveball here in 2018? Definitely a bit of a newer pick in terms of this year to bring out when you're down 0-1 against Afreeca.
So many different ways you can approach this. Right now on our screens, we're seeing Teleport from Kennen. Usually it's Unsealed Spellbook and the Ignite, so maybe a change in rune set when you're going to be against the Ryze. Outside chance you see a Gnar-esque build, and by Gnar-esque build I'm talking about the LCK Gnar builds that include the Frozen Mallet and the Hurricane, maybe even a Wit's End to try to take attack speed trades. No guarantee it's going to be ability power onto the Kennen, especially because Ryze up so easily into the magic resist option in the top lane against another AP opponent.
Kuro going to be hopping onto this Malzahar once again. We've talked a little bit about Zoe versus Malzahar. We'll take a little bit longer to get into the QSS, but lots of magic damage on both sides. We'll see what's going to happen here. We're going to jump into game number 2 of Afreeca versus KSV. Here we go. Match number 50 is today. You've cast a lot of BO3s. Papa, how are you feeling? Are you holding up?
I'm getting there. I guess I'm, if I do the maths, 50 best of 3s in. This will be my 51st best of 3 of the season. 90 all in the for 10 teams to run through the regular season. But first time I'm seeing Ryze versus Kennen, so that's fun to see. And yep, CuVee did mix things up. When we saw Teleport, we knew it's not going to be Unsealed Spellbook. Press the attack Kennen. This may in fact be that old AD Kennen build. Frozen Mallet, Hurricane most likely. A Wit's End is a possible here. He's trying to win the lane. That's why you blind pick Kennen top. And not with the Ignite this time, with the extended auto attack trades.
Looking forward to seeing what he can do with the press the attack. Of course, it's not 8.4 press the attack. That got a minor buff. Is going to be more of just your normal standard 8.3. But still pretty decent. You can attack a lot on the Kennen with all of his stuns, especially if you get on top of your opponent.
The race to the lane was won by Afreeca Freecs. Seems like the team with Braum on red side will always win the race to pick up that level 2 advantage. That's a little small window that Afreeca can look to exploit. We want to watch the top side, though, because we've done a full 180. We had the unkillable tanks that a banner of command was the most exciting thing to talk about, whereas here now we're going to have press the attack Kennen against the Comet Ryze on the top side. Again, Marin did play the top lane Kennen, but it was the much more expected Unsealed Spellbook, Ignite into AP Kennen. Still could be some sort of AP Kennen here, but with press the attack, suggesting very extended trades on the top side, an attack speed build is definitely more likely.
We have the Spell Thief's Edge picked up here on the side of Kuro. Not something you see every day on mid laners in 8.3.
It's going to rush into the, I believe it's called Remnant of the Watchers, the full Sightstone-esque, or I guess the full line of the Gold Patan now. Got to use the correct verbiage after all the Sightstones were removed. So once you pick that up, you do get the gold generation that the quest provides. And eventually some warding to help out as well. But it's largely a GP10 build. Same sort of thing we saw out of the top laners largely on previous patches, but just a little bit different here.
So we are going to be hopping into this one. Aiming gets his Kalista once again. He looked pretty good on it, I have to say, especially in the team fights. Of course, that was with the huge front line he had with the Scion and all the CC, but this time he's got Braum, at least, for a nice shield in the front, as well as a Sejuani to be a big, beefy frontliner, but a Ryze top, so might be a little bit of a playing field difference for aiming on the Kalista.
And I do like that you mentioned that, because the job is much easier when you can be very aggressive with your positioning, knowing that you have an insanely tanky front line to spare you any blush. It's very different when you have 5 carries as an AD carry to position than when you have a true front-to-back teamfight comp with 2 unkillable frontliners. So we'll wait and see. We'll get more information about aiming.
We've been saying liners a lot today. That's
true.
actually what
the Koreans
yeah. say. Yeah, you're slowly casting so much LCK that you're turning Korean on the broadcast.
There you go. Didn't think that was possible. Feels like cultural appropriation. Don't know how it happened, but here we are.
Well, once you start saying Kha'Zix and Jack in the jungle,
hey, so far
that'll be the next level.
So far, not guilty of that. That was always your thing, Valdez.
Yeah.
That was the Spo TV special.
May have picked that up from some of the casters I have casted with in the past. Not naming any names, of course. There have been a lot of them, though.
That's true.
You're number 3.
There's never
so
actually
far it's been going better, I feel.
Spo TV's never kept a duo for multiple seasons, right? Yeah. So far. Yeah. Well, I guess that means that one of us is going to go, Valdez. History repeats itself, after all.
Yeah. I wonder who that'll be. We'll just have to wait and see.
All about varying up the members of this sitcom, as Ambition's already level 5. He's power farmed even faster on the Skarner, and do notice in the bottom left-hand corner, it is Emax going full Western style on the Max, not the Q Max that we see from Spirit and a lot of the LCK Skarners.
Ambition staying up later, having some time to, of course, watch the EU and NALCS regions. Generally happens pretty late over here in Korea. I think EU LCS starts around 1 a.m. or 12. It's pretty late, and then NALCS is.
Oh, the double flash!
And they're going in hard onto CoreJJ. That's going to be a lot of Ren stacks. The Dazzle's going to miss, and that should be first blood. Going over to aiming. A little bit too aggressive there in the bottom lane for CoreJJ.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic mistake. Ruler was in the base going for his first shot. CoreJJ going down for a ward, and Brush Camp into just training him down. The double flash over the wall is the only thing you might say, okay, maybe Ambition can return to this lane and very likely to pick up a kill with the Impale. But Afreeca Freecs, they're just looking to play with oomph. They're looking to play with momentum, and that momentum's going to zone Ruler away from a lot of this farm.
Yeah, you were talking about Kramer with one of the highest KDAs in the entire league, but so far, I have to say the teamwork out of aiming and TusiN has looked pretty good, even outside of the fact that they haven't played more than 1 or now, I guess, 2 best-of-3s together in competitive play.
And there's kind of a twofold point there, because on the one hand, we want to talk about aiming, because of course he's the new player. He's still very, very young, 17 years of age. And he is showing kind of the sort of confidence on the stage that we didn't see in his first game a couple of weeks ago, but we are seeing here, which does vindicate, bring him into the lineup. But I also want to heavily compliment TusiN, because he's been forced to split scrim time, I'm sure solo queue time, playing with 2 different AD carries, and being able to find that sort of an advantage is really cool to see.
Yeah, it definitely speaks to his ability. I mean, we've seen TusiN be the playmaker in the past. He has so many MVP points. I think he's in 2nd place so far, and maybe he's the guy that does all the shot calling in the bottom lane and just in general for this Afreeca team.
And maybe KSV, with ambition, has decided that 40-minute win condition is what they're looking for here in Game 2. You don't often think that when you have a Kennen top lane, even if it's AD or AP. I think I'm on the money with the Wits End build here, given that he's rushed the Negatron cloak. But not often do you expect the game to be super extended with a Kennen top lane, but definitely what's happening in this game.
We have a 4-man invade from KSV. They really want to get that blue buff. TusiN getting into position, but does back out of there.
They are down summoners here, Afreeca, so they have to be careful on how they play this. Also worth knowing that CoreJJ's level 4. He's very behind in experience. Only going to represent an extra level in Dazzle, so isn't the most important level.
TusiN threw down that control ward in the face of the bot lane of KSV, saying, come get it, I dare you.
Very alpha move.
Yeah, there were 4 members of Afreeca right on top of it, so, or at least 2 of them, and 2 of them were nearby.
Bastion's still going to be playing around the bottom lane because of the summoner spot advantage for Ruler. Go for a very early Drake start. It's only going to be a Cloud, but certainly one that Skarner will appreciate, trying to gap close with the Impale.
I've had a lot of Cloud Drakes today. I think it's actually the only elemental Drake we've had so far.
He's going to take a lot of damage from this Drake. It's eventually going to be forced away. Let's see if Afreeca collapse onto it.
Yeah, it turns over to them, and the flash on in, getting way too greedy, staying around. That's going to be another kill going over to Afreeca. No steal. The smite is on point. No vision, and a flash Malzahar from the mid lane means that the low Skarner, who was staying a little bit too long,
Afreeca's so decisive in this game. Decisive double flashing to kill CoreJJ, and then Kuro with a control ward around was confident he wasn't going to come through vision, and super decisive in picking another kill. The bonus Drake as well. This lean run of form from KSV. You know, those gathering storms, they may mean something at 40 minutes. Afreeca not interested in a 40-minute game.
Already 1,500 gold ahead, plus the Cloud Drake denied away from ambition. He wanted it, not going to happen. And yeah, I mean, Kuro saw the opportunity. He said, I can get this guy. He knows the ranges. He is a pro player who's played a ton of Malzahar, so he knows exactly what he's doing. Going to pick up that first kill for himself in the mid lane.
And the mental gymnastics for ambition was, we can make this play because bot lane has 2 summoners down. The mid laner coming in was clearly an extra part of the equation he didn't evaluate. Now Kuro can come back. He already had the Remnant of the Watchers for the GP10. Now working towards a Morellonomicon. He's going to be super snowballed in his build, and he's not interested in rushing a QSS. He's got plenty of lane presence, and if we see Spirits start invading and putting down vision, chance of the Skarner actually making an impactful play will go down pretty significantly.
Yeah, Crown just sticking around here in the mid lane. We're eventually going to have that quest complete from Kuro, and even more vision is going to come down. But so far, it's been pretty good from the side of Afreeca. It's all red wards in both rivers. And even the Scuttle Crab up on the top side. So they've been controlling the map very well so far in Game 2.
The only lead in terms of pressure that KSV have is Wits End against, well, Ryze building mana. So in terms of effective items top side, CuVee is massively in front. Not able to zone, as we're going to see teleport back to lane. Spirit contesting the Spire. He will clear it. So does announce his presence a little bit in the top side. Thought he might go for a turret dive onto the Zoe, but seems to be more about just the counter jungle from Spirit.
Speaking of turret dives, you notice that CuVee heavily respecting the potential of a turret dive in the top lane. That means that some pressure going to be relieved in the top side. You mentioned how that could be one good lane for KSV, but for now, going to take control of that is Afreeca.
I feel like with comms, the Spires are really fun to track in professional play. In solo queue, people aren't always looking and keeping track of them, so they're not necessarily the same as a Clairvoyance is. But in this game, why are they showing themselves on the Spire? Because usually if you want to gank, you don't show yourself on the Spires. Seeing a stun, but no Impale yet.
Look at this team.
Really deep.
It is so deep. That's going to be the Ryze from behind. The rocket jump is down here, but Kiin in a little bit of trouble is actually going to realm war back to his team. We got CuVee in here too. Tons of damage going towards Afreeca, but they're looking to drop it down here, and Bishan going to grab up Kiin, but there's no follow-up, and they take him out. 5-on-5. It looks like Afreeca is going to win another fight.
They're diving.
Kill, a double kill for the Ryze, and taking damage on the crown. Everyone else going to back out, and another huge lead for Afreeca.
So proactive from Afreeca, not skipping a beat, even with aiming in the lineup. The epically deep teleport gets them a chunk. They also able to use the realm warp to get out, and they can fight front to back. And you saw Ruler was kind of exposed in the front line, not really being able to auto because of the scenario. We're going to get the replay here. No impale used, just harassment. The first teleport, it's defensive, you can see at that point. And then the second teleport right now is off screen. Here's Kiin. He DPS's out Ruler and then gets out. And you think, okay, is this going to be it? Remember that it's on-hit Kennen, not AP Kennen, so they don't have to respect it as much. They can fight in that zone. And then Ruler isn't autoing. One auto, isn't autoing. One auto and dies in the front line because he doesn't have a tanky front line. He was already chunked out at the start. Ruler is someone they need to build around if they're going to play this Tristana. But LCK Tristana is not LCS Tristana, and it's already looking like another game where KSV is going to have to come back from a big lead. It's 4,000 gold at 13 minutes.
The really cool thing for me in that fight is that normally when you get a TP from the top laner, you're expecting someone like even a Sion, but like an Orin, a tank that's not going to be chunking you out too much. But the Ryze comes in, he gets in there, chunks out the AD carry, gets out, re-engages with the CC from his team, and gets a double kill as the Ryze from the top lane. It's so cool.
And you can even be hyped about it because there was no stopwatch for it to be get out of jail free.
No, it was
he
real.
Chunked out. He played outside the realm warp until the last second, then walked in to actually get the escape. Beautifully done from Kiin. Looking to a 4-0 on the top lane Ryze.
Yeah. The first time these two teams played against each other, Afreeca got so close in game two.
Oh, boy.
It was one hit away.
57, I believe, was the HP on the Nexus.
One auto. And again, I mean, the game one, there was like 4 kills in it. And it went to 50 minutes. It was just a resident sleeper of a game. But this time, the first game was dominant. It was really cool to watch Sion, Taliyah. And then game two, you're seeing more creative and very powerful stuff coming out of Afreeca. And it's not looking quite like game two from their first series. It looks like they're much more taken into their hands and looking to get very far ahead early on.
And I start thinking about the fact that we never saw Samsung Galaxy look like we see KSV this year. And you'll say, okay, but they did struggle. They've always been a streaky team. It feels like one of their solo laners was always holding down the fort. In spring season MVP was Crown and Haru doing all the hard work. CuVee only playing tanks, got no MVPs in the entire season. Summer came around, Ambition was preferred, and CuVee was playing everything. He was looking like a god on carries and tanks. This year, it feels like both of their solo laners are struggling. They really have no good news story to come. And the end result is this team that was the shield, the scaling team that would always get to late game. They're taking 3 Gathering Storms and then getting out-roamed. They're having trouble in lanes as well. They're never going to get to the point where they can actually defend because they're getting snowballed on by an increasing number of teams here in the LCK.
Yeah. And then you look at Afreeca, it's kind of the exact opposite. Spirit is so much more consistent than last year. And even bringing in Kiin instead of Marin, it's a rookie coming in, I mean, comparatively to Marin, but even looking a bit more consistent in some ways. And bringing out new creative stuff, it's always refreshing to see out of a guy like Kiin. And we find ourselves at 16 minutes and Afreeca miles ahead. 5,000 gold this early on, plus a Rift Herald. So they're looking to push this as fast as possible.
And one of the reasons we don't see Tristana in the LCK is you need those 2 items to be strong and 3 items to be powerful. Hit those in the previous game at 28 minutes, and they were equal. So you thought, okay, Tristana's going to take over the game. Didn't happen in this game. How much of this game will be decided before Tristana gets going?
Crown hops in and back, but Kuro noticing that he didn't have the faster rotation, says, I'll give that one up. He chunks out the Zoe. He's going to make this early mid-push even more strong.
Rest in peace, Taric.
You got a demolition proc coming in from TusiN. Oh, not going to use it. Let the Rift Herald do the work.
They weren't looking for any second turrets. They don't need to get greedier than they already are. Cloud Drake is free for Afreeca if they want to turn onto it. Afreeca run the map, and every time in Vision they show in top or bot side, all KSV can do is run towards their base.
4 Cloud Drakes and 1 Elder so far is all we've seen.
What does it mean, Valdez?
I mean, it's a bit of a windy day outside here in Korea. Not sure if it's related. We are going to have a Mountain Drake.
Are you telling me that summer season will be only Infernals? Uh-oh.
666 gold from Kuro.
Oh. Okay, we can get through this. Take it off the screen, please, SpoTV. We can't handle this.
They've signed a pact with the devil. It's the only reason why Afreeca's doing so good this year.
I can't handle this, Valdez. Can we please lower the third? There it is. Okay, lower third is finally removed.
Okay. We're okay. What do you think of this build so far from Kuro? It's gotten him 666 gold so far, so I mean that's pretty good.
I think GP10 is fine if it's not going to be punished, and you're against Ambition. Why not go for gold for 10? Why not go risky in the build? If you're never going to be ganked, then why not go as greedy as possible?
We're going to have to ask Afreeca about their business decisions recently and who they've been talking to. See if that's been helping them out, but it's cool to see Kiin and aiming coming in and having a very dominant 2-0.
Afreeca just need to keep walking up to turrets. How about ganks even? CuVee's trying to run away.
CuVee in a really bad spot here. The flash engage, and he is going to go down.
Keep this up, because look at the build here. Already, Hurricane Blade the Ruin King compared to nothing for the side of Ruler. Keep fighting, keep rolling up. Doesn't matter if Ambition's there. Who's going to be impaled? Not going to be too much to worry about. Afreeca win every 3v3 if aiming is around.
It's very true. The double Tristana pick not working out so far for Ruler.
Going for Blade the Ruin King second, trying to bust lane. The lane's over, CuVee, I'm afraid. There's nothing you're going to be able to do in terms of the 1v1 unless so much happens in the mid game, as Kuro was just camping a brush. Feels like even bigger than the 7,000 gold lead, but 7,000 at 19 minutes is not something to be trifled with.
Yeah. Malzahar just mirroring wherever the Zoe goes. In this case, Kuro versus Crown. Always will have a pretty good 1v1 there. Has the TP. Unsealed Spellbook. We actually have the Q landing here onto Ruler, but it is Tristana.
Start backing away, and Afreeca continue at the pace. 20-minute Baron is looking very, very possible for Afreeca. That's why they start moving that way. There is a control ward for the side of KSV, and the recalls are coming, so at least they won't have to face check that exactly on 20 minutes. But Malzahar Kalista was already the spoiler that they'd be considering an early Baron, and a 5-kill lead is definitely the trailer for what could come here for the side of KSV.
Ambition trying to redeem himself here and to clean up some of these wards. Hasn't really had the best game of Skarner, 0-2. Although he is ahead in farm over Spirit, so that's something.
You're being very facetious over here,
He's
Valdez.
got something.
Don't worry, I pronounced that right as well.
Yeah.
We're talking about my pronunciation before.
Yeah,
I nailed that one. Yeah. Been a bit of an interesting performance by Ambition so far. But it's not over. Again, there is still Gathering Storm. There is a 40-minute win condition here for the side of KSV. It's just Afreeca are playing the most. Let's get this one done in 28 minutes that we've seen them play in a long time.
Okay, they're engaging here onto the Zoe. Crown in a lot of trouble. That ticking damage might be enough. The Q misses, though. Looks like he might go down here anyway. The flash Q coming in from Kuro will secure the kill. You were talking about fast Barons. They get 1 kill. Will they go for it now is the question.
They're happy to pile in, and I think the answer is yes, Valdez. They don't have to commit to it hard. They have the Malzahar Voidlings. The Spirit's already tanking out a Warmox, but who cares? They had the Secure as well. I think it's time for the KSV suicide attempt at trying to stop this, but KSV look like they're just going to give it up.
Yeah, you can see they're edging on over to that one, but they're not going to make any big moves towards it. They're going to give it away. The Ren coming in early. Afreeca knew they could have it. Nothing being done in the interim. They were thinking about pushing mid. Couldn't do even that at this point.
I guess for KSV, you know, with a performance like this, it's very much, let's hope the new patch is kinder to their players. Maybe Crown can jump on the Cassiopeia more after some of the tier changes, but right now it really is only tiers. Right now there seems to be good news at all for the side of KSV. They've been outclassed by multiple teams. They will be 1-4 4 in recent memory of the last 5 matches if they are to lose here. In the side lane, 2-level lead for Kiin against a lane-dominant pick in Press the Attack Kennen. The numbers here, 787 damage. There's a new meme ready to be born from the side of CuVee.
Oh, no.
Remember, he's on top lane Kennen with Press the Attack. He's supposed to just be auto-attacking the Ryze to death.
Yeah.
He's only put out 787 damage to the Ryze because they've just been losing everywhere on the map at the same time.
Yeah. Consider the difference between the TP from Kiin and the TP from CuVee early on in that fight. It was a double kill and massive damage from that top Ryze, who's looking at 4-0, by the way, in terms of his top Ryze win percentage. Compared to this Kennen. I mentioned Kled earlier on. I'd like to see that compared to this. Ambition has to flash away.
All they can do. 2 lanes being brought up at the same time. Ryze trying to make it the 3 lanes, the full court press. Kuro getting free autos in. Has the Voidlings to tank up the Battle Star if it's ever thrown out. And KSV don't have the items to fight. You know, they need to pull someone on the turret, and then maybe someone else has their cord pulled out of the computer. We've got real struggles here to win any sort of a 2v2 or a 3v3.
Well, one outer turret goes out, or rather, tier 2 turret. And another one looking to meet the same fate. Down it does go. They're moving now towards the bottom side. They've got a Ryze. It's level 15 and level 12 at this point. What are you going to do?
You're going to leave. You're going to leave. That's what CuVee... He took 1 round and he was like, okay, I've been bested. And he left the lane.
It's like, I think I'm about to have another toilet issue on this Rift right now. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, boy.
You know...
This might be the first and last time we see top Kennen again here in LCK.
Good news, it won't be a perfect game. There has been a turret picked up by KSV, but it is the perfect game for Afreeca fans. This is what they've been dreaming of after a couple of lean performances. Week 5 was not kind to them, going down in 2 straight sets. This one, KSV have no good options. They can't enter lane. Their counter pick was 3 levels down in the top side. Doesn't have the same teleport impact as a Ryze because he's this on-hit cannon. The Skarner, the Impale, isn't even being used because it's not going to actually... It's going to help an enemy gap close to kill someone, unfortunately. This first Baron buff has been epic, even though it hasn't broken the base. Good news, Ruler has 2 items, but that's really all they have to show for this first 25 minutes.
Yeah. Talk about the Impale, probably the only good target is the Ryze at this point, but he's got an Abyssal Mask and the Seraph's Embrace.
Yeah, he's not dying.
Not counting Merc Treads, but I say best. It's not a good one, but it might be the best even at that.
Well, Afreeca predictably can't break the base. This comp will find a lot of difficulty in doing that unless they're willing to dive, and there's definitely an outside chance the dive is on. In that area, the Kennen ult will be relevant because of the CC, not so much about the damage. Pushing up to a 3rd lane, and for the first round here, but being respectful so far, Afreeca.
Ambition is thinking about it. I think what you were saying earlier about Impales, maybe you just don't even want to do it. He's going to be locked down, though, and, well, the Cosmic Radiance will come in and save him, so you got to be careful about this. Finally, an Impale comes in, but it's on to TusiN. Unfortunately, not enough damage just yet. The Fate's Call is going to save him in the end of it all. A more risky engage there from Afreeca, kind of playing with their food.
But you see what's possible. Even though they're 13,000 gold behind, they do win a 4v4 because of the great timing on the Taric ultimate. It is, like you say, only something that happens when they're looking to turret dive, when they're looking to close the game out. So recreating that is going to be very difficult, as Taric doesn't have a real initiation conduit because Ambition can't actually start a fight on the Skarner right now. But still, that is something that does buy them time. We're only playing lip service to the late game because it seems very unlikely to be happening, but they can recreate that 2-3 times, largely around the next Baron, you'd have to imagine. Maybe this game can extend out and become more competitive than it currently is.
Yeah, it's just, we talked about that on-hit Kennen. Loves to push the side lanes and, you know, get presence in a different lane, but when you're going up against a Ryze that's this far ahead.
I mean, the problem with on-hit Kennen always was, if he falls behind, he can't really do anything. He doesn't have fast wave clear. If he enters lane, he can just die straight up to the opponent, so he's giving up multiple minion waves. We might see a Flame Horizon. In fact, we're likely to see a Flame Horizon in the top side against an on-hit Kennen, one of the most powerful blind pick laners that has ever existed in the top lane in League of Legends.
Yeah, certainly having a bit of trouble, although I don't know if had he gone onto the Ornn or some other kind of tanky pick, I think only like Maokai was available at that point. Would it have been any better? Perhaps that play down on the bottom, he may have saved a life.
4,000 gold lead for the Malzahar in the mid lane because of the GP10. GP10 meta back in this game, and huge gold lead, 4,000 gold. Even though it's only 50 CS, is pretty insane. It's about 3,000 gold on the top side, largely because of the CS advantage.
Well, you talked about the efficiency of Braum versus Zoe. You see it there.
Most people would think Tahm Kench because you devour the target that's been slept, but the problem is Tahm Kench can't devour himself, which means that he can't actually defend himself if he's the one hit by a trouble. Well, we don't really want to go QSS in this sort of a game. I guess against Skarner it feels a bit better, but that's why the Braum can fight for himself and does end up being a bit more attractive as a pick.
Definitely seemed to be the right pick in there. You notice that after that fight that Afreeca was a bit shaky on against Cosmic Radiance, they've backed off. They're not playing as aggressive. They're waiting now for some objectives. You were talking about Baron definitely will help out in the push, and I'm not sure if KSV can even contest this at this point.
I think they have to. The right Cosmic Radiance makes a lot of things possible, but you're trying to cheat a 13,500 gold lead. Would need something amazing, and 3-item Tristana. Outside chance Valdez, very low armor values, the perfect Cosmic Radiance, but it's literally you hit perfection or you just lose the game. So that's kind of the deck being super stacked against KSV. The glass is definitely not half full. They are massively far behind, but not willing to write them off completely just yet.
They had a nice position there in the mid lane. I thought they might push it in, as it was only Ruler sitting there. The rest of them were stuck up by the blue buff. But so far, Afreeca have been leaning this way, looking for a play on the summon. They're going to land it onto Ruler. Ult for ult is traded. But again, they can't quite engage here. Ambition, though, he's going to be looking for the pull. He's going to get onto someone there. It looks like Spirit, but they just turn it around right away. Look at the top laners go at it. CuVee not able to stand up to the damage of the Ryze. And at the end of it all, Ambition tries to make the play once again, but not tanky enough to stay alive.
I mean, he's using his Impale on a Sejuani when his team is behind in gold. They're never going to be able to kill the Sejuani. Tank items early always outpace damage items in terms of actually keeping you alive. So Spirit's back to full health with the Warmogs. The Baron will start. It's a rushed decision by Ambition, the wrong one, and they lose Baron as a result.
The fight had begun. They traded the Sejuani ult for Cosmic Radiance, but then re-engaging there, definitely not the answer. Maybe just let it go, poke a little bit with Ruler, and re-evaluate your position. But either way, now we have another Baron here for Afreeca, who pick up an extra bonus kill. And they're going to be looking to push, especially with a second Mountain Drake, to make things even easier.
Kiin had a Ryze in his inventory, decided better for it, went back and rolled it back for the Void Staff. He is supremely strong. 6-item top lane Ryze at 30 minutes into the game. He's even ahead of Kuro, but I guess it's the 5 items. He does have the wards, of course, but he's in a great spot. Kuro is just a completion away from his own Void Staff. About 700 gold, as our observer is kindly showing us. The initial trade, we're not going to get a replay, so just to say, the initial trade of Sejuani ultimate for Taric is the right choice by Afreeca, because then they don't have Taric ult to contest the Baron. So if it was just the ults were thrown out, everyone disengages, I still like it for Afreeca, but then they got the bonus, the cherry on top, and obviously it became a free Baron.
Yeah. Got to take what you can get. Afreeca is definitely in the driver's seat here, and they're playing it very well. Now with the Baron buff, looking to push into the first inhibitors. Ryze up in the top side, up against CuVee. You can see that not really having a fun time. The bottom inhibitor obviously going to go down.
Kuro is level 18 to the 13 from Ambition. Not even talking about CoreJJ.
Yeah.
They're looking for a pick here. They actually got one.
Looks like they should be able to get it. It's 3 members versus just Ryze. Ruler even showing his face up there.
One able to push the mid lane in, so it's after the inhibitor went down. So small criticism to Kiin. Playing too far up. Here's a turn.
No QSS, nothing to help him out, and down he does go. Just around the corner was the scary Malzahar, and the Cosmic Radiance even blown here. Not going to help out at all, and now you're going to get caught. Now you're going to go. That's going to be the second inhibitor, most likely the game, as Afreeca are pushing in.
They're looking for it to close. Such deletion damage on the Malzahar. Here's more.
Double kill now for Aiming, who's had a fantastic series. 2 wins. It's looking like for this rookie guy coming on in, trying to get the wins, and that's going to do it. Only 1 kill on the board for KSV. The clean 2-0 victory for Afreeca.
Welcome back, Afreeca Freecs. You only had a 1-week break, but you took 2 weeks after going down twice last week. This week, however, showing their potential, even varying. The ever-reliable Kramer bringing in Aiming. They did not miss a beat. In fact, they looked even better. So aggressive in the laning phase, double flashing over for the kill on CoreJJ, and they never needed a second invitation to close the game. This is the Afreeca Freecs I want to see when we hit playoffs, because this is an Afreeca Freecs that on their day can beat any team in the LCK.
We talk a lot about Afreeca's success, but what does it come on the back of? We talked a bit about their coach, Ilavuv, the famous coach and player from past times in StarCraft, and he's coming in. It's taken some time, but now Afreeca is looking like one of the best teams in LCK and potentially the world. I'm not going to call it after this game, but it certainly was very clean. Seems like they have an even deeper lineup than we previously imagined, and they're looking good. That's really all I can say.
And then for the side of KSV, we praise the org for keeping the world champions together. This was supposed to be their coronation in Korea in 2018, but now, ironically, we want change. We need new blood in this lineup, and Haru has not represented the amount of change that KSV need. Maybe the meta can change on patch 8.4, but it seems unlikely. Kuro does insane damage. Remember, Malzahar has been toned down heavily on patch 8.3. Ruler didn't get to feel that. But for KSV, they need new players. It feels like they need a new option in the mid lane or top lane, because together, CuVee and Crown is not working out unless the meta shift on 8.4 helps them disproportionately more than other teams. How can we expect it to change?
Yeah. The Skarner in this game as well, we've talked, I mean, they do have a sub in the jungle, but he hasn't had even that much more success than Ambition. Talking about Haru here, but the Skarner, who was first picked by KSV, having basically no impact in game number 2. Not really looking good overall for KSV. They're going to have to go back to the drawing board. I'm excited to talk to Kiin, actually, in the MVP interview. He got his first MVP in game 1. It's a toss-up for game 2. Could be him again.
I just love watching teams play this well. It's not a bias thing. It's just, in game 1, they understood where they were strong. They made picks that weren't working in Korea work, like the Sion. And in game 2, they styled on KSV. And we respect KSV for the level of opposition they represent. They're not Kongdu Monster when it comes to the standings, and Afreeca Freecs made them look like a second-rate team. It was a fantastic performance from them. Kuro on this GP10 Malzahar was rolling back the patches, looking like 8.1 Malzahar in many ways. We're seeing the players in front of us roll off the screen, get ready for the MVP. Like you say, it's got a lot of change. 2 losses last week into a thumping of KSV. The step away for the Afreeca Freecs, who went 2 series further than they would like. But right now, they once again feel like a top 3 team in Korea.
That they do. It's questionable when you look at the standings. You look at the 0-2 against Jin Air, and you're like, huh, that's a big question mark. It's closer series against King Zone, but what can you really do? And then they come out here and they crush KSV. It's like, well, where is this team exactly? It looks like on the pretty good path so far. I'm
so hyped to see them against SKT in a couple of days. SK Telecom on a 4-match win streak. Afreeca off the back of this win over KSV. That could be really fiery. I'm not sure what the better team is between the two. Afreeca would be the one based on results this season, but the ceiling of Blossom SKT hasn't been shown. Does that ceiling crest over Afreeca Freecs? That's the question I want to know the answer to right now, but sadly I'll have to wait a couple of days to finally find out.
The days certainly go by a little bit longer when you got a lot of things to cast in between, Papa, but you'll get there eventually. I'll be watching. Let's take a look at the MVP. It is going to be Kuro. Makes sense, you know. Definitely Kiin did his part, but Kuro on the Malzahar doing pretty well.
And I'm not usually someone who is easily convinced by Malzahar performances for MVPs just because so reliable on his engage. Usually it's press R and win, but This was a game where I think Kuro was fantastic. He was in the right position. His flash ults were fantastic. We saw him playing around Vision on the bot side, getting the kill onto Tristana. He went the GP10 build. He made it work. They vindicated, not going for the Talia and visiting the Malzahar. And if anything, it was even cleaner than game one.
Yeah. Up at the top, it says to go for some item. I don't know the name of the Korean items. It might just be the GP10 item, is what I would assume.
Remnant of the Watchers, I think it is.
Definitely.
I'll look it up during the break. Because
Worked out.
Surprisingly, we're going to have a long break after this interview.
Yeah, I know. Seems like it's been a couple of casts since that's happened at Spo TV. But either way, guys, I'm going to hand it over to the interview. Ji-sun will help with the translation.
연패를 끊어내고 승리를 가져왔습니다. 오늘 승리를 견인한 기인 선수 그리고 쿠로 선수의 인터뷰가 준비가 되어 있습니다. 함께 만나보시죠.
So
today, Afreeca Freecs got the win from 2-0 victory. Congratulations.
네, 감사합니다. 이 두 명의 선수가 조금 낯설 수밖에 없는 것이 인터뷰를 프로 선수하고도
So, I haven't had a lot of interview with you, Kuro, and also Kiin. It's your first MVP for you, right? So how do you feel?
일단 그냥 뭐 간단하게 좋네요.
Well, to say it simple, it's really good.
크로 선수 역시 어떻게 보면은 최근에 좋은 장면을 보였는데 약간
So, Kuro, you also didn't get a lot of MVPs nowadays.
MVP를 안 받았지만 이거는 크로가 만든 경기야.
But we really appreciate your plays. So how do you feel?
일단 MVP 오랜만에 받고
It's been a while that I got MVP, so I feel really good.
안준 건 좀 마음에 들고.
Well, I'm really sad that I couldn't get MVP when I played LeBlanc.
경기는 다시 돌려봐도 정말 굉장하다는 느낌을 줬던 그런 경기였는데요. 1경기 먼저 한번 짚어서 한번 말씀을 드릴까요?
So let's move on to the first game.
쪽에 관련된 그런 장면들 많은 장면들이
Speaking of top lane,
콜을 안 했는지 아예
well, we saw that Spirit wasn't taking a lot of care on the top lane.
힘내 콜이 있었던
Was that planned? What kind of strategy did you try to bring?
사이온데 오르는 서로 잘안 죽는
Well, Cyan and Ornn, we both don't really die in the lanes. So we knew that the opponent jungler will be in the bot lane. So yeah, I think our jungler didn't come to the top lane also.
애초에 시민 가운데 굉장히 주목받이만 그 탑솔러 중 한 명이었고, 근데 그 장면이 어느 정도 칸 쪽으로 좀 쏠린 느낌이 좀 있었잖아요.
Well, I mean, you are one of the biggest rookie in the top lane, but you know, Khan kind of took the spotlight. So how do you feel? Well, I didn't really care a lot about people's attention because I knew it when my time will come. So yeah, I wasn't really nervous about that.
쿠로 선수가 도움을 엄청 주는 장면도 굉장히 많았었잖아요. 1세트 인상 깊은 그런 장면들이 있었다면.
Is there any highlights they wanna pick in the first game?
뭐좀 있었는데 그냥 제 W 한 번에 딜러들 풀이 빠지는 거.
Well, every moment that the opponent dealers use their flash whenever I use my W. And let's check out the clips.
이 장면 숨어있다 대량 학생과 딱 맞추는 장면. 이거는 무슨 콜이었어요?
이건 그냥
Tell us about this situation. But I knew this was coming, so I made this whole team fight.
G는 그 다음은 즉흥적으로 좀 푼 거예요, 이 다음 경기를?
네.
이거 큐베 잡았었을 때는 거의 뭐 확신을 좀 했었겠네요, 그러면.
거의 끝났다 콜이 나왔죠.
Well, as soon as I got CuVee down, I knew the game was over.
쿠로 선수는 어땠어요? 쿠로 선수는
And how about you, Kuro?
경기에서 사실 말자가 등장했었을 때 뭐 많은 팬들도 그렇고 많은
You picked Malzahar in the second game.
말자를 대조이 상대로 끝내는 건 괜찮은데
And
동료 선수만 가능하다라는 얘기를
well, it's a great counter pick up Zoe, but it's not an easy champion to use. So how do you feel?
일단 뭐 조이 쪽도 당연히 잘해야겠지만 말자 쪽도 잘해야 돼서.
Well, yeah, it's a good champion to use against Joey, but yeah, I think it needs a little bit professional plays.
네. 그러면 사실 오랜만에 MVP를 탔으니까 어떻게 보면 오랜만에 탄 건 아니고 500포인트는 상당히 높은 포인트인데 어디 스맵 선수 눈.
Well, there's a Sumet
네.
right in front of you, staring at you. So how do you feel?
오실래요? 네, 오세요. 잠깐 와도 돼요? 잠깐 와도 돼요?
Come join the interview, Sumet.
와도 돼요. 네.
너보다 잘하는 여기 있어.
네.
Well, Kuro said I got a better top laner than you.
축하 말씀해 주신다면요? 너무.
Is there anything you want to say to Kuro?
네, 보기 좋네요.
Well, I wasn't really aware that he was the MVP.
양 선수의 멋진 장면 지나가는 스맵 선수 다시 한번 와주셔서 감사합니다.
So thank you for joining the interview.
네, 지나가다가 잠깐 들린 손님 같은 약간 그런 모습이었고 사실 최근에 흐름들이 굉장히 좋다가 한번 약간 주춤거려가지고 힘든 경기를 지난번 경기를 연달아 좀 펼쳤었잖아요. 그 다음에
So I think you guys are finding your rhythms back.
뭐 기인 선수.
우리가 아직 설 연휴를 끝나고 와서 그렇게 됐잖아요.
After the long break, I think we was a little bit underperforming because I think we needed to practice a little bit more. So yeah, we just focused to practice a little bit more than we used to.
선수 좀 만족할 만한 그런 합들이 좀 나오던가요? 어땠어요?
일단 확실히 저희 그 합이 옛날 같지 않다는.
Yeah, I thought a little bit that our teamwork wasn't perfect. So I think we're a little bit over practicing, but we're working on it. So yeah, I think it'll be better next time.
굉장히 멋진 장면 역시 이 세트 많이 등장을 했었습니다. 두 번째 세트.
Then let's check out the highlights from the game 2.
자 여기는 뭐 황철 선이 걸리면 다 끝났으니까 이거 조이 잡는 장면이었고. 이때는 아예 노렸었나요? 이때 조이가
So were you planning on catching her down?
아니요, 딱 그런 거 없었고 그냥
Well,
저희가
it was actually more like a spur of the moment. Where I was trying to focus on Skarner, but and then I saw Zoe right in front of me, so I was lucky to get her.
이때는 흐름들이 완전 넘어왔었죠.
이때는 근데 라이즈가 잘려서 흐름이 잠깐 넘어갔는데.
And this moment, I think we were a little bit worried because our Ryze died, but it was a little bit lucky to win the team fight over there.
그러니까 그 계산이 얼마나 완벽했는지 완전히 훅 중간에 그 뚫리는 장면들이 있었는데 사실 시청자분들도 이 오늘 경기를 보고 굉장히 공부가
And one of
됐습니다.
our
제가
fans
시청자 질문을
asked that
시청자분들의 질문에서 이게 올라왔습니다. 지금 경기 순서에 관련된 내용인데
So your opponents were Kingzone and then KSV, and next one will be SK Telecom.
순서에 대해서는 지금 현재 어떻게 느끼고
So
있는지
how do you feel about that?
말씀해
Is it a little bit tough?
아무래도 좀 강팀들을 연속으로 만나다 보니까
Yeah, we are facing some stronger teams in a
초중반에
row.
약간 힘을 팍주고
네.
나중에 약간 느슨하게 그렇게 가는 그런 거.
So I think maybe we should just concentrate on the earlier schedules and then feel maybe a little bit comfortable in the now on, in the later on.
그 시간이 있고 그 이후는 좀 더 여유 있는 경기 운영을 통해서 천천히 승리를 쌓아 올리겠다 이 얘기죠?
당연하죠.
그렇습니다. 이 얘기했어요. 그러면 쿠로
Then what about you, Kuro? And do you want to add on to that?
저희가 킹존 KSV로
It's
시작했단 말이에요.
similar to the first round.
그다음에 또 막 KT였고.
So we faced Kingzone and KSV and then KT Roster.
저희 1라운드, 2라운드 대진이 좀 센 팀이
So,
먼저 계속 잡히는데.
yeah.
맞아요.
We always have to face stronger teams the early of the round robin. So
좋게 할수 있잖아요.
I think it gives us a little bit more about positive energy as we take down the stronger teams.
계속 열심히 해서.
So we're gonna keep on working on our hard work.
괜찮을 것 같은데 어때요 지금 분위기 보면?
지금요?
네.
지금
So how do you feel about the second round?
훨씬 1라운드 때보다는 좋을 것 같아요.
Well, so if we just continue on this win, I think it will be better than the first round.
충분히 근거가 있지 않을까라는 생각이 듭니다. 오늘 그리고 에이밍 선수가 등장한 것에 대해서 얘기가 좀 있었어요.
And
어땠어요?
you know, speaking of aiming, the new AD carry.
좀 풀어주고 초반에 쿠로 선수가
How was the game with him?
좀 화면에 좀 잡혔었거든요. 긴장 많이 하던가요? 뭐
Was he
저희는
nervous
거의
before the
긴장 안
game?
하는 선수라고 좀 들었었는데 어땠어요?
긴장을 그렇게 많이 안 한 것 같고.
He doesn't really get
서영이 형이
nervous a
카메라
lot.
앞에 이렇게 다독여주는 것 같아요.
But I think Kuro was a little bit pretending to show his care to the new player.
게임 시작하기 전에 긴장이 안 된다 그랬어요.
네네네.
그런데 게임
I mean, aiming said that he's not worried before the games, but as the game started, he said like he's feeling a bit nervous. So I was trying to like make him feel a little bit more comfortable. I think it's distorting my love to him.
그래요? 그럼 진짜 챙겨줬는지 안 챙겨줬는지 에이밍 선수
Then let's
모시고
bring aiming here and talk a little bit more.
네, 승리 축하드리겠습니다.
So congratulations on your victory.
에이밍 선수가 2000년생이죠? 네.
So you were
그래서
born in
어떻게 보면
2000.
어떻게 보면 새로운 길을 열었다. 또 과언이 아닐 정도로 이제 젊은 피들이 이제 계속 들어오고 있었는데 쿠로 선수가 이제 다독거려지면서 이제 경기 시작 전에
So
뭐라고 말을
what did
하던가요?
Kuro tell you before the game?
긴장하지 말고.
He told me not to be nervous and do my best. It was very typical words from him.
긴장하지 말라고 했는데.
I just wanted him to be chill a bit down, but I don't know why they're just misunderstanding my intentions.
동생들이 이렇게 얘기한 것이 아닌가라는 좀 생각이 듭니다. 사실 에이밍 선수도 지금 사실 뭐 부담감이 없다고 말은 했지만 주변에서 팀원들도 약간의 우려.
So people say you don't really get nervous a lot.
출발도 좀 어려운 장면이
but
있었잖아요. 어땠어요?
How was the game overall?
그때 긴장은 안 하면서 하고
I don't really get nervous. Yeah, it's true.
저도 모르게 긴장을 하더라고요.
But yeah, today when I died,
미안하면서
I felt a little bit sorry. and my hearts were beating faster. So I think I got nervous at that moment.
그때 좀 풀어줬어 그때.
그때
At that moment, and
그냥 다 같이 천천히
well,
하는
other
거
players told me to slow down, just chill down, and feel more comfortable in the games.
에밍 선수를 기다리는 분들을 위해서 끝으로 한 말씀 좀 해주신다면요.
So is there anything you want to say to your fans?
저를 좋아하시는 분들도 있고 싫어하시는 분들도 있겠지만
Well, there might be my fans, but also my haters. So I want my haters to love me with my plays.
아 그리고 사실 워낙 요즘에 아프리카 경기 양도 연습량도 많겠습니다만 경기 자체도 굉장히 빡빡하게 있어가지고 제가 듣기로는 기인 선수가 졸업식도 못 갔다는 얘기가
And I heard
있어요.
that Kiin, you
좀
missed
아쉬움이 좀
your
있을 것 같은데요.
graduation ceremony.
네, 아직 학교 가서 졸업 앨범도 못 받은 상태여서.
Yeah,
네.
I missed it because I had a
그렇죠.
match on
그래가지고
that day, so I feel a
저희가
bit sad.
졸업장을 만들어 왔습니다.
So we just made something for you to celebrate your graduation.
감사합니다.
졸업장 성년 김기인 1999년 5월 28일생 위 사람은 고등학교 3개년의 전 과정을
So, this
수료하였으므로 이 졸업장을 수료합니다. 2018년
a paper
2월
that-
스포 TV 고등학교 대도.
Paper for Kiin's graduation from Spo TV.
감사합니다. 자 이제 졸업장까지 드렸으니까 끝으로 이 두 명이 오늘 MVP 활약을 보여준 이 두 명의 선수. 많은 팬 여러분들 약간은 걱정하셨을 거야. 지난 그 두 개의 경기 때문에.
So
하지만
some
오늘
of
경기를 보시면서
your fans could have been a little bit worried from your loss streak, but now you guys are back in the rhythm. So is there anything you want to tell your fans?
앞으로 경기들도 많이 남았는데
We have more matchups coming up, so
지금까지 해보겠습니다.
we're gonna practice hard and we're gonna try to win the split. Thank you.
그리고 쿠로 선수.
네, 앞으로 남은 경기들 다 이겨서
So we're gonna
걱정 없이
maintain
꼭
this
상위권에 들어서
great performance and win
네,
all
그래서
the teams that we're gonna
오늘
face.
멋진 경기를 펼쳐냈습니다. 아프리카 프릭스 2대0으로 완승을 거뒀다는
So
소식을
this will be the
전해드리면서
interview
MVP
with
인터뷰
Kuro,
올리겠습니다.
Kiin, and Aiming from Afreeca Freecs. I'll send it back to you guys.
Congratulations to Kiin there, graduating from Spo TV High School. Got to hand it to him. It's been here for a while. Finally graduated, but...
There was a great interview with
Yeah.
Invent Global where he talked about the fact that he had to miss his own high school graduation because of playing professionally. So, a little bit of memes there. Spo TV, man. They find a way to just...
I know.
You could just be walking off the street, just down the road. They'll bring you
Say,
into
hey,
the interview.
you wanna
to get in here?
talk?
Yeah. Caster Sung, our big Korean caster. Full of charisma, as always. And KSV really found an Afreeca Freecs lineup full of confidence, so decisive, so aggressive. KSV, they brought 3 Gathering Storms. This game was over before that storm was even a couple of clouds on the horizon.
Lots of Cloud Drakes, but not much of a storm here, especially for KSV. They didn't get many of those Drakes, and they didn't get many kills or any success on the Kennen pick. After today, I'd say shelve it, CuVee. I don't want to see that again.
No, on hit Kennen, I guess. I think he played with a couple of different ideas, realized AP wasn't going to work, and then the game made him decide that no Kennen was going to work. In fact, no champion was going to catch up here. Malzahar deleting people left, right, and center. Again, a highlight reel of Afreeca, nothing to show for KSV. This is the Afreeca Freecs we saw a month ago. We see them again today.
Really nice control ward there on the right side that allowed Kuro to go in unseen.
As a
catch
4v5,
ruler.
remember?
Yeah, that was the end of the game, just on that one pick. They take out the carry, and nobody else could really do anything. CuVee certainly not a carry. Crown just poking a Zoe from behind is always laughable. And that's what happened. A couple of quick games as Afreeca, they end their losing streak, as it says at the top, and they make it a couple of quick ones, under 40 minutes, a 2-0. We're gonna have a big long break, maybe even longer than that interview, although I'm not sure, Papa.
100% sure it was a long one. It was an epic interview, an epic series in 2 days. First game on Thursday, Afreeca versus SKT. It's one to circle on the calendar. You look at the standings, and Afreeca, top 3 now. KSV, the free fall does continue.
Yep, that was the decider for third place. I mean, as we go along here in 2018 spring, we begin to get tiers in the standings, and so far Kingzone KT up at the top, Afreeca clawing right behind them. KSV now is looking to fall beneath them into that middle rung, and SKT trying to go up as well. The next matchup, guys, is going to be KT versus Rox, so it could be another good decider. Rox Tigers could tie with KSV with the win tonight. It's going to be a hard one against KT, but hey, you never know.
And KT Rolster could actually go first in the standings, albeit only for a couple of hours. It's still something you still have to grasp at every opportunity KT Rolster, we build them as more consistent than last year. They still had some hiccups, even if it hasn't hurt their match score too heavily. I'm excited to see if they can put past a Rox Tigers team that is still looking like an outside chance for top 5.
Yeah. As I mentioned before, KT versus Rox going to be our second series. KT did beat them in the first round robin. It was a 2-1 though. Rox did show some nice plays, and they do look clean at times. So we'll see which Rox Tigers does show up later tonight.
SpoTV exclusive match. We had the first one. That was with a lot of Sejuani's ulting Zac. An interesting first series we'll talk about a little bit more after the break. Looking at the clock, 7:02 Korean Standard Time. Means about just over 45 minutes is a likely break here. So guys, sorry, we'd love to show you more League of Legends, but it's going to be a pretty long break.
Yeah, well, that was a fun one. I was thinking Afreeca was going to win, but took pretty, it was a much shorter time than I expected because they made KSV look really not so good today.
You have to be really decisive to keep the game time shorter against KSV. Afreeca shows they can be. We see the ceiling of Afreeca. How often they can reach it, that's going to be the fun thing to watch.
Yeah, so guys, we are going to close it out here for now, but join us in about 45 years. We'll see you then.
LCK 스프링 스플릿 오늘의 첫 번째 경기는 아프리카 프릭스의 승리로 끝이 났습니다. 저희는 잠시 후 7시 50분 KT 롤스터 락스타이거즈의 경기로 다시 인사드리겠습니다. 함께해 주신 여러분 고맙습니다.